So good afternoon to you all. Uh, good afternoon to you all. So today we will take up another experiment. So that is on grain size analysis. I again request you all the handouts are available with you. So try to open the handout corresponding to mechanical sieve analysis. Experiment number 3, grain size analysis, mechanical method. So there are two methods under the mechanical analysis. One is dry method, next is wet method. So we will give you the demonstration on both of these methods. The objective of the mechanical sieve analysis is to establish a curve called as the grain size distribution curve of the soils. So the grain size distribution curve is nothing but which is a relationship between the particle diameter versus the percent fraction. So on the x-axis, you are going to take the diameter of the particles. On the y-axis, you are going to write what is the percentage proportion of that particular size fraction. Suppose if you draw the relationship between particle diameter versus percentage fraction, which is something looks like this. While on the x-axis, so you will indicate the particle size depending upon the coarse soil or the fine soil. For example, if you take the coarse grain soil whose maximum particle size is 4.75 millimeter and the minimum particle size is 0.075 millimeter. So here you can write that so it may be in the range of 0.075 millimeter to 4.75 millimeter. So this is the range of your particle diameter on the x-axis. While on the y-axis, it is concerning with the percentage fraction or the percentage of the particles passing through particular cells. So here we can take different percentages. So starting from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, so 50 and up to 100%. Up to 100%. So on the y-axis, you will take the percentage fraction starting from 0 to highest 100%. On the x-axis, you will take the particle diameter whose typical size range varies depending upon the coarse fraction or the fine fraction. Suppose if we consider the coarse fraction, it varies from 0.075 millimeter to 4.75 millimeter. So this is your objective. You need to establish this kind of a curve for a given soil type. In your soil mechanics, you might have already undergone the sieve analysis. So there we have seen that if you are dealing with the coarse grain soil, whose the fraction range varies from 4.75 millimeter to 0.075. So you normally resort to the mechanical sieve analysis. So in this mechanical sieve analysis, either you can try to use the dry sieve analysis or wet sieve analysis. So both are okay. If the fraction is more of the core size or highly pulverized the particles, then you can go for the dry side. So on the other hand, if there are a large amount of fine fraction near to 0.075, so then you should go for the wet sieve analysis. While there are other reasons also, another reason for going for wet sieve analysis is sometimes when the particles are so small, they exhibit some kind of the static charge. So because of this static charge, the particles agglomerate themselves. So when they agglomerate, so this entire agglomerated particle will be reflected as a single particle, but which is a misleading. So therefore, in order to erode this static charge, what we do is we do wet sieve analysis where the soil sample is kept or poured inside the sieve, but a water jet is used to clean the material or to allow the particles to pass through the sieve. So that's the beauty of the wet sieve analysis. So between dry and wet sieve analysis, so it is always believed that the wet sieve analysis is more accurate than the dry sieve analysis. Okay, so your objective is to establish the grain size distribution. Now let us go for the experimentation. So how to get the x-axis parameter and how to get the y-axis parameter. How to get the x-axis parameter, how to get the y-axis parameter. So for that, what you need to do is, so an instrument called as a sieve shaker, which is available in the laboratory. So this is sieve shaker. This is a small device, which is nothing but it shakes a set of sieves. You can see here. So this is called as a sieve stack. Can you show this one? So I will also show. So I will show the picture of the sieve stack. Yes, sure. So this is the sieve stack. Here you can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are total 9 number of sieves are arranged so in a particular order. So this has highest particle size, that is 4.75, and the bottom is called as a pan. So here you can see the highest 4.75 and the bottom is pan. One particular thing that you need to understand is, so this is individual sieve. So this is the lid and this is the sieve. Suppose if you look at inside the sieve. So here you can see so many number of apertures made with the uniform size. All these are called as apertures. So now just to make a distinction, I am taking two variety of sieves. So here you can see the complete information about the aperture size, who made this sieve, so on and so forth. So here it is written. So this was manufactured by Emil Limited, and here you can see this is Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad. The sieve size, it is written 4.75 millimeter. 4.75 millimeter, and this is serial number. Okay. Similarly, I am taking the least size, the on topmost. So this is 4.75, and the bottommost right above the pan. So we are going to use another sieve that is called as a whose size is 75 microns. So now you see. So if you closely look into the right side one and the left side one, on the left side you can see the aperture size is very big. So the aperture size here is 4.75 millimeter. But on the right side you hardly able to see the aperture, because the size of the aperture is in microns, 0.075. So you cannot able to literally see through the camera how the aperture looks like. Rather you can see like a screen. So it looks like a screen. Okay, but here each aperture is made to a size of 75 microns. Okay, so here also you can see the complete information about the sieve, the manufacturer of the sieve, and sieve size. Okay, so they are arranged in a stacking order. So at the topmost we have an highest aperture size sieve, and at the bottommost, so we have a least aperture size. Now, one important thing that you must remember as a civil engineer is, so though I have shown two sieves, but two sieves are made for a particular aperture size. But in general, if you look at any soil, it never composes of a particles of uniform size. The particle size varies over a wider range, and it is practically impossible. So suppose if you take 4.75 to 0.075, if you want to segregate particles of uniform size, then you have to sieve it through not less than a couple of hundreds of the sieves, which is practically not possible. So then what we do? we always consider a particle's range from a particular size. For example, when we do the stacking, we take the topmost as 4.75 millimeter and next to is 2 millimeter. 2 millimeter. Now, in a sense, whatever the particles which are accumulated on top of the 4.75, all these particles are size of higher than 4.75 millimeter. But a couple of the particles will pass through. And depending upon their size, so a few of the particles will pass through this 2 micron and few will retain. So this is called as a retained soil. Retained soil mass. Retained on aperture of 4.75. It indicates that all these particle sizes are greater than 4.75. Next is 2 millimeter. So now here, how do you read it? So here it will be read something like this: particles passing 4.75 but retained on 2 millimeter. So here, how do you read this one? So passing 4.75, but retained on 2 micron. So retained on 2 millimeter C. So this is how normally we read it. Similarly, so after 2, then we can go for 1 millimeter, then the 600 micron. So 600 micron, then 300 micron, so then 150 micron, then 75 micron. So these are the different stack. So 150 and 75 micron. So this is the typical stack size normally we take in case of the coarse grain soil. While in case of the fine grain soil, so whose maximum particle size is 0.075 millimeter, and it is lower than the 2 microns, which is of clay size. So in this case, we normally go for sedimentation analysis using a device called as a hydrometer. So therefore, it is also called as either sedimentation or hydrometer analysis. But originally, the correct word is sedimentation analysis using the device hydrometer. So this we will discuss maybe in the next class, the fine grain soil analysis. Today we will focus on the coarse grain soil. Now, if you look at this picture carefully, now we have different apertures: 4.75, 2, 1, 600, 300, 150, 75. So these are considered as the particle diameters. The topmost one will represent on the x-axis, so on the right side or on the left side. You can take anything, doesn't matter. While the bottommost is 75 microns, so right near the horizon of the graph. So these apertures indicates or represents x-axis of this graph. Now, how do you determine the y-axis, that is percentage fraction? Now, just now I told. So usually we take the soil mass of approximately 1 kg. Let us say we have taken 1 kg of the soil. 1 kg of the soil. So which is typically in the range of 4.75 to 0.75. So it may be lesser than 0.075, so there is no problem, and it may be higher than 4.75. Still, we don't have any problem, but preferably, so in this size range, we have to consider. Okay. So now, when you put this 1 kg of entire soil on the sieve set, so this is a stack. So this is stack. So now put the soil. So put the soil of 1 kg. So because of the different aperture sizes, it passes through almost every sieve. So depending upon the aperture size, either it passes or retains in that particular aperture. So this is passing while some amount is retaining. So this is passing and this is retained. Retained. So among this passing, something will be again retained on the next subsequent lower size of the aperture, but and a certain fraction will again pass through depending upon the particle size. So now if you look at carefully, so we have a retained soil almost on all sieve sizes or maybe on couple of sieve sizes. That again depends upon the type of the soil that you have considered. But one thing is certain that on each and every sieve, so there is a certain amount of the retained soil, So this retained soil is collected and weighed. Now we know how much is the initial weight of the soil that we have taken. That is 1 kg. And we know how much amount of the soil retained on each and every stack. So the summation of the mass which is retained on each and every stack shall be equal to ultimately of the total mass which has taken. That is 1 kg. So that is 1 kg. Now, so suppose if you are using a stack of say not more than 5 or 6. So it is difficult to remember so how much amount of the soil retained on a particular sieve. So therefore what we do is we tabulate all the values. So let us look at the page number. Data sheet for dry sieve analysis. So look into the handout. So of the page data sheet for dry sieve analysis. So here all the information has been given. You need to fill this. So weight of a dry soil taken. So the condition here is again you cannot take wet soil. This has to be a dried soil. You have to take approximately 1 kg or half kg or 2 kg, whatever it is, of that particular air dried soil. Then hygroscopic moisture content. Hygroscopic moisture content means so once the soil is air dried, take out small amount of the soil and keep it in the oven to determine the moisture content of that particular soil. Because why this hygroscopic? Hygroscopic means it is the water content which is naturally attracted by the soil particles. Okay, not forcefully. So naturally attracted by the soil particles. That is called as a hygroscopic water content. Then weight of dry soil taken. So if you remove from the air dry soil, the hygroscopic moisture content, then you will get weight of oven dry soil. Then weight of gravel or sand and percentage of gravel or sand, organic content observed. Now here there are additional 2 terminologies coming into the picture. One is the gravel. The next is sand. Suppose if you are doing the analysis combinedly for gravel and sand, maybe you have to take the stack of the sieves which also comprises of the gravel. Okay, so for gravel, the sieve size varies from 80 mm to 4.75 mm. Okay, that means reasonably, when you are dealing with the gravel, your soil composes of the particles of the size above 4.75 mm to as max as 80 mm. And for sand, so it varies from 4.75 to 0.075 mm. So it is up to you. If you are doing a single analysis, then you have to take a bigger stack of sieves, starting from as high as 80 mm, as low as 75 microns. Then in that case, you can able to clearly write how much is the percentage of the gravel and how much is the percentage of the sand. If not, say in this case, I am doing alone only for the sand. So meaning thereby, I am strictly considering the particles between 4.75 to 75 microns. Okay, so now it is important to see this table. So the first column is sieve number. So sieve number, it is available on each and every sieve. Then sieve opening size. Probably you might have heard the difference between sieve number and sieve opening size in your soil mechanics class. For example, the sieve size of 200 number indicates 75 microns. But 200 number sieve size indicates opening size of 75 microns. So similarly, for other sizes also, there are particular numbers are given by ASTM or USDA, or maybe I think ASTM. Just see it. I didn't remember. Okay. So either you can refer to sieve number, or sieve aperture size, which is nothing but the particle diameter. So the particle diameter d millimeter. Next, mass of the soil retained. Now here, if you look at this fact, suppose if it is 4.75 millimeter, 4.75 to 1, so then 600 microns, say I will say 0.6, 0.3, 0.15 and 0.075. So corresponding to each sieve size, how much is the weight retained? How much is the weight retained? So this is maybe in grams. Next, percentage weight retained. So percentage weight retained. So now I know what is the initial weight that I have taken. So initial dry soil that I have considered is 1 kg. 1 kg. So for example here the weight retained is say 200 grams. 200 grams. So percentage weight retained how much? So 200 by 1000. Whatever the percentage. So maybe 20% or something. So 200 divided by the initial weight, that is 1 kg. Say for example corresponding to 2 millimeter. So weight retained is 100 grams. So the percentage retained is 10%. Percentage retained is 10%. So the cumulative percentage retained. So the cumulative percentage retained. So this is nothing but here it is 20, then cumulative means this is 30. So this is 30. Say this is again 20%. So 30 plus 20. So this is 50. So this is 50. So like this, so on and so forth. You have to continue until you are reaching the bottommost sieve size of 0.075 micron. Okay, so once the cumulative percentage is calculated, the last one is percentage final. So the last one is percentage final. Now if you look at carefully, the last column is nothing but your y-axis. Percentage final is nothing but your y-axis. So how do you determine the percentage final? Here a formula has been given. N is equals to 100 minus B, that is 100 minus cumulative percentage retained. So here this is 100 minus 20. So this is 80%. So here 100 minus 30. 100 minus 30. So this is 70%. So this is 100 minus 50. So 50%. So this is how the percentage final will be calculated. And keep continuing the calculation. So once you are getting the percentage final, so now we know for a particular the particle size diameter 4.75. So we have a percentage finer of 80%. So these two will become 1 point. For example, corresponding to this 4.75, this 4.75 here, the particles retained are 80%. So this is 4.75 and 80%. 80%. Similarly, for all other particle sizes. For all other particle sizes. So this is how you will get the different points all along the curve. So the last point represents 0.075 microns or 0.075 millimeter or 75 microns. Okay. So if you join all the points, so then you will get the curve which is called as a grain size distribution curve. Grain size distribution curve. So anybody has any question till this point? Anyone has any question? Okay. Okay, so now the most important point comes is once the gradational curve has been established, now you are asked to classify the soil, whether the given soil is well graded gravel or well graded sand. You need to classify it. So well graded or uniformly graded or poorly graded. So you need to add any one of these designations to gravel or sand. These are two coarse grained soils. So this kind of terminology can be used only for the gravel and sand. So not for the silt or clay. It's not valid. But how do you say the given soil is a well-graded soil? There should be some parameters which should be able to define. So those defining parameters are two. One is Cu, next is Cc. Cu is called as a coefficient of uniformity. Cu called as coefficient of uniformity. The other parameter is called as a Cc. So coefficient of curvature. Now these two parameters are defined here. Cu is defined as the ratio of d60 upon d10 and Cc is defined as d30 square by d60 into d10. So what is this d10, d60 and d30? So which are nothing but, so d10 means diameter of the particle corresponding to 10% of finer. Similarly, d30 diameter of the particle corresponding to 30% of the fraction or 30% of the finer. Similarly, d60 means diameter of the particle corresponding to 60% of the finer. 60% of the finer. So this is how they are defined. So these are the three parameters which are used to define coefficient of uniformity and coefficient of curvature. So from your gradations curve, you need to pick up D10, D30 and D60 by drawing vertical lines from 10%, drawing horizontal lines from the 10% finer, 30% of finer and 60% of finer. 10, 30 and 60% of the finer. So draw a horizontal line from 10% onto the gradation curve and extend onto the horizontal axis. So wherever it is touching the axis, that would give you the diameter of the particle corresponding to 10% of the fraction. Similarly, corresponding to 30%, draw a horizontal line onto the gradation curve. From there, you drop it in the vertical direction onto the x-axis, and where this vertical line touches the x-axis, that will give you the diameter of the particle passing through 30% fraction. Similarly, repeat the same for 60%. So this is how normally we will determine D10, D30 and D60. So once these three values are obtained, calculate CU and CC. CU and CC. Once CU and CC values are obtained, now some guidelines has been given. You can refer to handout also. So the CC value always should lie between 1 to 3. It could be less than 1, it could be higher than 1, so there is no problem. But the condition is that if CC is 1, 2, 3 and CU is greater than 4 for gravel, So for gravel, CC should be 1, 2, 3 and Cu is greater than 4. Then this is called as a well-graded gravel. Well-graded gravel. So if Cc is lesser than 1 or greater than 3, although Cu is greater than 4, then that is called as a poorly graded gravel. Poorly graded gravel. Or otherwise, Cc is between 1 and 3. If the Cu is less than 4, even then it is called as a well-graded gravel. Well-graded gravel. On the other hand, so sand. For sand, so you can see the Cc again should lie between 1 to 3 and Cu should be greater than 6. So then this soil is called as a well-graded sand. Well-graded sand. So for any value, for example, Cu less than 6 or Cc less than 1 or Cc greater than 3, so that soil is called as a poorly graded sand. For any other value, it is called as a poorly graded sand. Poorly graded sand. Now there is another classification, that is uniformly graded. In that case, if Cu is approximately 2, then that particular, say, gravel or sand material is immaterial. If Cu is approximately 2, then that particular material is called as a uniform soil. Uniform soil. So this is a brief description about the today's experiment, that is the establishment of the grain size relationship, which is the particle diameter versus percentage fiber. So this is the curve and this is the classification system of a given soil. So you can also look into your handout, so how to do the experimentation, everything has been given. And here you can see on the next page. So here graph has been given. So usually the y-axis is taken in the linear scale, while the x-axis is usually considered on the semi-log graph, because the particle size varies over the wider range. So in order to accommodate this wider variation, we normally take the log graph on the x-axis, but not log values. Only graph is the log. So there are conceptual questions. So this handout, conceptual questions handout, is also available on the Microsoft Teams. Please look into it. Okay. So the kind of the analysis, the objective is same between dry and wet sieve analysis. Now in procedure wise, so procedurally, what is the difference between wet sieve analysis and dry sieve analysis? So this is dry sieve analysis and wet sieve analysis. So in dry sieve analysis, we will take air dry soil, while in the wet sieve analysis, so in the here also we will take the air dry soil, but here we use mechanical federation or the mechanical energy, that is shaking. So mechanical shaking to pass the particles, while in wet sieve analysis we use water jet. Water jet is used so to pass the particles. So this is only the difference between the wet sieve analysis and dry sieve analysis. So here shaking energy, mechanical energy. Here water jet is used so to allow the particles. Okay. So I will stop it here. So if you have any questions, you are most welcome to ask. So before we begin the demonstration.
Sir,
Yeah.
one question is there.
Tell me.
Sir, yes, sir, for the dry sieve and the wet sieve, so the difference is between the water jet is using or the shaking is using. So, sir, what is the profit of wet jet? Because we are drying of the particles and etc. etc. So, sir, when we are making our work using the dry sieve, so why is the use of the other format?
See, in wet sieve analysis, as I told, you are taking the particle size range from 4.75 to 0.075. While the majority of the fraction is on the micron side, so there is a possibility that the particle agglomeration, something called as a particles agglomeration, that means more than particles agglomeration. So here in the agglomeration means certain number of particles are agglomerated together representing as a single particle. But which is so realistically not correct. So in order to avoid that agglomerations, we go for the wet sieve analysis. So that agglomerations are possible because of the static charge or static energy, whatever the kind of thing it is. Or sometimes if the soil is wet, then there is also possible.
Sir, when we are taking the air dry soil, so why we are using the concept of the wet soil? Means you have mentioned that when soil is wet, so sir, what, and you have mentioned previously that air dry soil we are using for wet sieve.
Yeah.
Means, sir, won't it be like looking like the contradictory?
No. So air dry doesn't mean that it will remove your static charge. That is not possible. That's a disadvantage of dry sieve analysis. That's what I'm saying. So that is inbuilt disadvantage in case of the dry sieve analysis.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So in fact, some reverse things also happen. For fine grained soils, if you induce the thermal energy, it also gives some kind of the static energy, that static charge. Sometimes reverse also can happen, depending upon the particle's nature. Okay, good. So any other question? Just show the stack. How much amount of charge?
Okay, let's start our experiment. This is our sieve sack. Topmost sieve is of bigger size and it will gradually decrease from 4.75, 2.36, 1.18, 600 microns, 300 microns, 150 microns, 75 microns, like that. Last one is our pan. Okay. Actually, we have the sieve shaker in the lab, but we cannot show that it was in the next lab. So let's do it today manually. Okay. We'll take 500 grams of soil, dry soil, in the topmost sieve, and we'll place that soil in this pan.
Sense.
So video getting stuck multiple times.
Oh, video stopping multiple times.
Sir, getting stuck means sometimes getting paused like.
Yeah, since today morning it is happening because of the network issue.
Initial weight, and the initial weight of empty weight of seed, then you add.
So, this is 4.75.
4.75, 2.36,
2.36.
2 into 1,
1.
600 microns,
0.6.
0.425,
0.425.
300,
0.3. 0.5.
75 microns.
This one.
Yes. So this is our dry soil. We have taken 500 grams of dry soil. 500 grams of dry soil, and I am pouring that 500 grams into this tray, topmost one, 4.75. And we'll close the lid. We have the mechanical sieve shaker in the lab. So we will shake this, we will put this sample in that shaker and we will sieve this one. So now for demonstration purpose, we are shaking this sieves individually with our hand and showing you. Bottom one is our pan. This is the lid. This is top sieve is 4.75 mm sieve. Okay.
Just put the pan at the bottom. You can put a single. नहीं, खिला दो। Yeah, so you have seen now it is handshaken. So usually on the equipment we will do for a couple of seconds only.
So on the top sieve, no soil was retained.
So it is 0.
So it is 0. On the second sieve, which is 2.36 mm, we have the particles retained on this. So we will take these particles in a bowl. This is our empty one. We will tear this bowl as 0 on the weighing balance, and we'll put this sample in this one.
So I request everyone take a pen and paper. So that we can prepare a table or we can fill the table. Just take and out and start filling your table.
So this is our weighing machine. This is our bowl. We have tared this to 0. While collecting the samples, no particles should stuck in between these apertures. We have the wire mesh to clean this one. So each and every particle we have to weigh each and every particle of this. It is 21 grams retained on 2.36 mm sieve.
So just note down on 4.75 it is 0 and on 2.36 mm sieve size 21 grams of weight of soil retained. So the next sieve size that is considered is 1 millimeter.
Which is 101 grams.
Note down 101 grams against 1 millimeter sieve retained. So the next sieve size is 600 microns, that is 0.6 millimeter. So
136 grams retained on 600 microns.
The next subsequent sieve size is 425 microns, that is 0.425 millimeter.
$107 grams retained on 425 microns. So 102 grams retained on 300 micron sieve.
So next sieve size is 150 microns or 0.15 millimeter.
On 150 micron sieve, particles retained was 22 grams.
So the last one, that is 75 microns. So there is hardly anything retained on the 75 microns, that is 3 grams.
Because of the electric fan. Two grams.
3 grams. Yeah. So on the 75 micron sieve, so weight of the soil retained is 3 grams.
We also
remaining is-
have the particles on in this pan. It's hardly around 1 gram or 2 gram.
Okay. So now that completes our experimentation. So whatever is there, it is listed on the blackboard. So this whiteboard.
Sir, can you please show the board?
Yeah. So now I request everyone. So please take your hand out and try to fill the table. Whatever the recordings that we got just now from the sieve analysis, everything has been recorded here. So
Sir,
initial
video
weight
got
of-
stopped.
Okay, just wait a minute. The network problem. Let's see. Yeah. Is it okay now? The video is getting streamed now or no?
Yes, sir. Now, sir.
Okay. So I request everyone, so please note down this table and try to fill. So as per my explanation, so now you know the initial weight of the soil taken, that is 500 grams. So sieve number, you know, sieve size has been listed in this table. Weight of the soil retained against each sieve size is also given here. So now you need to calculate what is the percentage of weight retained, cumulative weight retained, and percentage passing. Okay. So try to fill this table. This is up to you. Now this completes the mechanical sieve analysis by dry sieve method. So now we will demonstrate the wet sieve method. Now just remember, the wet sieve analysis is a bit laborious process. Okay, so it's supposed to be done corresponding to each and every sieve. So in reality, but so here we can't able to demonstrate corresponding each and everything. What we are doing is we are demonstrating only on one particular size, that is on 75 microns, just for the demonstration.
So we have taken the sample of soil and we are placing this soil in this 75 micron sieve and we are passing a water jet through this one. So until the water is clearly passing down to this sieve, till then we have to do the experiment.
Now there is a one prerequisite when you do the wet sieve analysis. See, if you recall the dry sieve method, we have directly taken the dry soil in the container, which is of approximately 500 grams. But the prerequisite in case of the wet sieve analysis is, so the soil should be soaked for at least half an hour. Okay, here you can see, so it is soaked. It was kept for soaking for almost half an hour. Okay, 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour. So since we are doing the core sieve analysis, there is not much problem. But if the same wet sieve analysis is done on the fine grained soils, so we add something called as a dispersing agent. If you have undergone your hydrometer analysis, the best example is sodium hexametaphosphate. So this is the one of the chemical which is called as a dispersing agent. That solution is normally used to disperse the agglomerated particles. So the agglomeration happens because of the surface charge or static charge, and that charge can be neutralized by adding the sodium hexametaphosphate solution. While in case of the coarse grained soil, this is an option, but in case of the fine grained soils, this is a mandatory. So this you must remember. So now, in next step, what we do is we directly pour this wet soil on top of the 75 microns, and we use the water jet. So yeah, so now you can visualize.
This is 75 micron sieve. I am placing this sample in this sieve. I have collected each and every particle in this bowl into this sieve and I will pour the water in it.
So now you can notice a change of color of water. So below the sieve, so that indicates that such particle sizes which are lesser than 75 microns are passing through the sieve. You can see a lot of particles are passing.
Until the water is passing clearly, till then we have to do this experiment.
So now another two things are simultaneously you need to do. One is stirring along with the water jet. There should be inflow of water with a constant stirring either by the hand or by any device. So now we can see, you can notice the clear water is passing through the sieve. So that indicates now no more particles are passing through the sieves.
Passing clearly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then. So now you notice that initially we have taken a huge amount of the soil, approximately half a kg, but now remained is maybe lesser than 200 grams. But another thing is that this is a wet soil. So this is a now in wet condition. So this will be kept in the oven for approximately 24 hours. So then only I can take the weight, that is weight of the soil retained and the 75 microns. So for that purpose, you need to wait for 24 hours. So this is the procedure of wet sieve analysis. So this step supposed to be repeated corresponding to the each and every sieve size. Okay, that's why the wet sieve analysis is a little laborious process, although it is accurate.
Yes.
Okay, so now, so we are moving into the whiteboard. So that completes demonstration on the wet sieve analysis as well as on the dry sieve analysis. Okay, so now I have given all the data by the dry sieve analysis. So it is your duty to fill up the table and submit in the form of a record.
Sir, for this time, sir, should we use our data or we can use the standard data?
Both. So
Sir, I'm
one
not
set
getting
of data I have given. See, I have given one set of data. So it is your duty to collect another set of data from the literature and submit both the records.
So both means the dry and wet.
No. Both are dry only.
Okay, sir. So only dry sieve analysis.
Only dry sieve analysis.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions from anybody?